So today's session is about how do we handle constructed response at level 3 exams. In my experience of teaching for CFA level 3 for the last 14 years, most of the candidates struggle with the writing part. Now, prior to COVID, there used to be a separate AM and PM paper. AM paper, which is the morning paper, people had to write. That means the whole paper was made of constructed response. Of course, after the CBT exams are introduced, computer-based testing, now it's going to be a mixed format. Okay, so we're going to focus a lot on constructed response, and I feel that if you get your CR right at level 3, then your probability of passing is significantly higher. Okay, so it's a threefold 4-point agenda today. First, I want to spend some time on just the time management on the exams. Then we'll discuss some CR strategies. I've made a list of some of them. Then we will discuss exam day tips, and then towards the end we will do Q&A. Okay, I'm looking at about 60 minutes for the session. Once I have finished everything, then feel free to ask me whatever questions you have. All right, so with this background, I'm starting. Now, first is time management. So you get roughly 2 hours and 15 minutes. Is that correct? So you get about 130 odd minutes for the first paper and 130 odd minutes for the second paper. Now, in each of the paper, you have to do 11 total case studies. Okay. Now, the breakdown of those 11 case studies would be 5 MCQs, 6 constructed response. Okay, and 6 MCQs plus 5 constructed response. So you're looking at total 11 CR, and you're looking at 11 MCQ based case studies. Now the sequence might change. That means in the first half, you might get 6 plus 5 instead of 5 plus 6, but the total will be same, 11 CR, 11 MCQ. Now there are two ways in which you can approach this. Some candidates would prefer to deal with all the CR first, then they go to MCQs. Some candidates prefer to do all the MCQs first, then they go to CR. Now, I feel that there is a significant risk in both the strategies, because if you do CR first, and what if you take too much of time? So you don't have enough time for MCQs and you lose out on easy points, right? If you do MCQs first, what if you don't have enough time for CR? So generally, if I had to take the exam now, my strategy would have been that I would create a block of MCQ and CR, okay, where I'll do one case study of MCQ and one case study of CR, okay, together. So the sequence will be when the level 3 exams start. The first case study that I solve would be the MCQ one. The second one that I solve would be the constructed response one. And then what I'll try to do is I'll do an individual level hedging, which means for every block of one MCQ and one CR, I will spend 20 minutes. Okay, so 10 minutes each, but does not have to be 10 minutes. It could be, imagine for the first CR, first MCQ, you finished in 5 minutes. Then this CR, you can save yourself 15 minutes, right? So an individual level hedging. If you were to do that, then what will happen is in the first 1 hour, you have completed 3 blocks. And 3 blocks means 6 case studies. In the second hour, you have completed all the 3 blocks. So imagine you do 2 case studies here, 2 more case studies here, 2 here, 2 here, 10 is done. And then you're left with 1 here. So what this does is it gives you that buffer of 10-15 minutes, because you're a little conservative with how you're allocating the time, right? Technically, time allocation should be 131 divided by 11, which is a little more than 10 minutes. But if I be a little conservative and I say that I will hit an average of 10 minutes per case study, this will work out better. So what I want you to do is when you start practicing your mocks, try out this format, see if it works for you. Do 1 MCQ and 1 constructed response in a block of 20 minutes. So by the end of first hour, you should have done 6 case studies. Okay, 3 plus 3. By the end of second hour, paper should be over and you should still have some buffer time of 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so that's my 2 cents on time management. Again, a very common feedback at level 3 is that many candidates struggle to complete the whole paper. Okay, they struggle to finish 100% of the questions. And I feel if that were to happen to you on the day of exam, the probability of passing will reduce dramatically, right? So instead of obsessing too much about, hey, how can I get the best answer? A very smart thing to do is how can I ensure that I complete this paper? Of course, within that, if you can do best answers, nothing like it, right? But you have to have a focus on completion. That means you'll have to be very disciplined with how you allocate the time. So that's your first concept. Now that this is out of the way, some of the very important CR related strategies. First thing, please write/type what the question is asking, not necessarily what you know. Okay, for example, if the question says identify an appropriate immunization strategy, let's say, duration matching, cash flow matching, do not explain what duration matching is or cash flow matching is, because the question did not ask you, right? The question asked you what is identify. So you try to answer specifically what you've been asked. Again, when I grade papers of level 3 candidates, this is the most common mistake people do, that they end up writing unnecessary explanation, which the question is not really asked. Okay, so know that the way grading works at level 3, there is a team of graders, and each team is assigned only for one constructed response. Okay, so which means if there is a team 1, they're going to evaluate only one case study. And then this is how horizontal grading works. So there is absolutely no point in writing more, because all of these folks are given a standard answer key. So your answer needs to match with what the standard answer key is, right? So they don't care if you know adjacent areas. So please do not write that. This is a time killer. If you do this, then your probability of finishing the paper is lower, right? That means passing chances are gone. Second, in general, if you have to choose between write more and write less, for most of the candidates, it's write less, right? Generally, 3 to 4 bullet points in most situations is more than sufficient. Use bullet points. CFA Institute in their official handle has actually recommended you to do this, right? So do not build those lengthy paragraphs. Makes no sense. Be bulleted. Use, if they say identify 2 reasons, then use numbers. Reason number 1, reason number 2. Third, imagine if there are 2 command words in a question. For example, the question starts with something like identify an appropriate benchmark, justify with 2 reasons the choice that you've made. So what I would recommend on the exams, you take this command word and convert this identify into identification. Okay, and then below that you write down your bullet point. Then you take this command word, below that give it a heading, justification, maybe underline, then write down reason number 1, reason number 2. Okay, so try and answer each command word separately in a sequential way. That will force you to have a more structured answer, and I think we've done a lot of practice on weekly tests like this. Then what if you have a calculate command word? Now for calculate command word, the only expectation from you is to just provide that final quantified number, right? You need a numerical solution to it. They do not expect you to write formulas. Okay, so since most of you, I know you've prepared well, and obviously most of you are good at numbers, I would recommend don't get into the trap of trying to write the formula and then write the number below that. I know it's helpful in what situation, if your final number is wrong, then at least if your formula was correct, you get some partial grades there, right? But honestly, probability of that happening realistically is very, very low, because most of you have practiced enough, you build muscle memories. If you remember the formula, you will be able to get the solution. So, right, so back yourself a little bit. I would recommend, if it's a calculate command word, just write answer as 229 long futures. That's it. Or $23.5 million. Okay, nothing beyond that. Just simple, straightforward, one word answer. Then, if the question says justify with 2 reasons, do not write 3, do not write 4, because again, CFA Institute officially says, if we've asked you for 2, and if you write 3, we don't read the third one, right? So whichever are your 2 best reasons, 2 best points, just write them. Please make sure you do not write the third one. Then on an average, 3 to 4 bullet points / sentences for every answer should be sufficient. You do not need to write lengthy paragraphs. All right, this is interesting. Now, CFA Institute generally officially says that we do not care about your language. Okay, but in my experience, I've seen that candidates who mastered the CFA curriculum language, their success ratios have been higher. Now, I don't have a quantified proof to, a number to prove this, but in just anecdotal dividends, that if you can get the right language, for example, duration matching is the correct word as against keeping the duration same. So generally, as much as possible, you try to match the answer with official language in the CFA curriculum. Okay, now I know that it's not going to be easy, but all that I'm saying is you practice, right? When you practice, you try to absorb the right set of language, and this will come only with repetition. Now, the reason why I think this works is primarily because of their grading mechanism. Okay, I'll tell you what the grading mechanism is. Imagine we have one particular question. Okay, we have a constructed response solution to it. Now, this is the answer which a candidate is given. Okay, and this is the solution key which is provided to the grader. Now, typically, what graders are asked to do is they're asked to check the solution keys and then check whether answer is closer to solution keys. All right. So, the closer you are, higher probability of getting grades. What CFA Institute does is basically once you're graded, they divide it into three categories. Okay, the candidates who have scored exceptionally higher. Okay, what they have some sort of an indicative MPS. Indicative means even before looking at your answer, they have some idea of what the MPS would be. If you're scoring higher, then you're put in this quadrant. Okay, if you score very low, then you're put in this quadrant. Most of the candidates are put in the middle. Okay, where your score is somewhere below the MPS for that particular solution, but or not below the MPS, but your score is somewhere in the between. Now, for these candidates, there is a second layer of grading that happens. Okay, and if there is a huge delta between the first grade and the second grade, then there is also an exceptional third layer of grading happens. Right now, you don't need to worry about all of this nonsense. All that you need to know out of this is that the graders are going to look at the solution key. They're going to compare. So the closer you are, the better chances. How do you get closer? Try and answer each command word separately. Okay, where is that? This one. So justification, bullet points, identification, bullet points. So that will help. Next one. I think I've already discussed this. Horizontal grading, that every grader will evaluate only one answer, but across the candidates. Second, again, CFA Institute officially said that they will not be putting in any constructed response questions where you'll have to put in the formulas. Why? Because they understand that typing a formula is very difficult. If you come across a situation where you have to type the formula, it's okay to just write the formula in simple English language. For example, you can use RFR plus beta into equity risk premium, right? It's okay to write it like this. Or you can write formula as return on portfolio minus RFR divided by standard deviation of the portfolio. So that will also work. Next, for multiplication, this is okay. This is also okay, right? This is official. So you're all right there. For division, this is okay. Slash is also okay, right? So that way you're flexible. Then this is again an official comment by CFA Institute that they already understand that CR format questions can be a little challenging for the candidates. So they generally will not put in trick questions, right? Something that will have a hidden trick. Those category of questions are very, very unlikely to show up on the CR format. So most of the CR questions would be fairly straightforward. They would not be very difficult, which is a good news. And this is again coming from their official channel, official source. Then graders generally look for simplicity, not too complicated answers. So again, just answer every command word in bullet points and you're okay. There is a concept of partial grading. If your answer is not precisely there, but somewhere there, you do get some sort of a partial grade, which means if you come across a situation where you have no idea, at least take the command words and try to write something. Okay, you open up possibility of getting some partial grades. Then you might think that calculation is required only in the calculate command word, but actually there are some other command words that require calculations, and I will be showing you those very soon. Okay, so calculation is required not only in calculate command word, but some other command words, which we will see very soon. Then some exam day tips. First, this is the experience I've heard from candidates in India, that at times the keyboard quality is not so good on the testing center. So when you go there, they'll assign you a seat, a laptop or mostly a desktop with a keyboard. Just do a trial run, see that you're comfortable with the keyboard quality. In India, they use those larger keyboards. At least in Pune and Bombay, I'm aware of this. This larger keyboards, the desktop style keyboards where you have numbers on the right hand side. So just make sure you're comfortable, because the feel of typing is different on a laptop versus on these keyboards, right? Not that it makes a difference, but just be aware. Second, this also I've heard from candidates that you might encounter a noisy typer around you, right? Because people tend to make a lot of. I am one of those guys who basically create a lot of noise when I'm trying to type something. Okay, so you can also ask the proctors to give you the earplugs. I've heard in India earplugs are available at the exam center. Okay, or maybe you can carry one with you. Just order them on Amazon today. Show it to them. If they allow you, use it. If not, they might have something, use it. Then next one, air conditioning. I've heard a lot of reviews in India. Most of the exam centers have a split AC unit. Okay, now what happens in a split air conditioning unit is if you happen to sit exactly below the area, the air conditioning, it kind of tends to throw a lot of cool air on you continuously. I think they have a standard policy on, yes, they allow earplugs. At times they give you on the exams. They have a standard policy of keeping 22 degrees Celsius or something like that on the exam center. But I've heard at times it gets too cold. So maybe you carry some clothing with you that will allow you to cover your head, maybe like a hoodie or something. And also then whenever seat is allocated to you, if you're not comfortable, let them know, right? So that way at least you're comfortable writing the exams. So this was a general discussion. Now, what I did today is I spent a lot of time on this particular document of the CFA Institute. They've given a list of about 17 command words. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken these command words and I've created 4 or 5 groups of them, and I'll be sharing this document with you and I've kind of summarized for you so that you understand what to write and what not to write in each command word. Okay, so the first command word is define. If you come across a define command word, then your job is to state the exact meaning of a term, which is obvious, right? So I don't think you need to really memorize anything about it. Second one, identify. Now, identify would be an easier command word to deal with. They've given you 3 options. You have to identify which one is correct. So write down heading identification. Below that, write down whichever option you've chosen. That's it, right? Nothing else. So you just need to point out something correctly. Third one is describe. Now, when they use the command word describe, they're expecting you to state the key features of that particular concept. Okay, so if the command word says describe qualities of a good benchmark, then maybe you need to state the key features. Now, in the basic command word list, the most comprehensive command word actually happens to be explain, right? So I want you to look out for this command word on the exam. Explain subsumes describe, which means explain assumes that you're going to describe. So if I have to kind of give you importance of command word in terms of comprehensiveness, explain in this category is the highest. You have to make something clear, but that means you have to also describe the features at times. All right. So which basically means if I come across an explain command word, I'll try and probably add 1 or 2 extra bullet points. I'll try to be a little more comprehensive if I come across this particular command word. Then I told you for numbers and decisions, there could be 4 different command words, not just one. The first one is obvious, which is calculate. Now, calculate means you just need to throw in a numerical value, nothing else. Second one is estimate. Remember this one for the exam. This is also calculate, but it's not a precise value. So if you come across this command word, the expectation is that you would be able to approximate some value. Okay, now I couldn't think of an example of how it will be put to use, but CFA Institute has given some examples. Okay, so let me show you an estimate example. Now, estimate company's intrinsic value based on discounted cash flow analysis. Notice this, and I think estimate is rather an appropriate word because you cannot really calculate an intrinsic value because we know no one knows what the true intrinsic value is, right? So at best, what I can do is I can estimate. So if you come across an estimate command word, all that you have to do is you have to do the calculation and throw in the number. At times, estimate will be attached to interpret, right? And then I'll show you what interpret needs to be done. Okay, so back to our flowchart again. So that's your estimate. An easy command word, determine. If you come across determine, all that you have to do is you have to make a choice. Determine the most appropriate strategy, right? So it's a simple, straightforward command word, nothing fancy here. If you come across interpret as a command word, okay, typically know that interpret will be not an independent command word, but it would come generally attached to calculate and interpret, right? So these two command words, they tend to use together. So first you calculate, then you interpret. And interpret is nothing but whatever you've calculated, you have to explain the meaning of that concept. Okay, so that's your interpret command word. Then we go to some analysis based command words. So first, analyze. Remember this one, because if you analyze, you break down the components of whatever you're analyzing, but you ensure that you are assessing the relationship of those components. Okay, so analyze is a slightly higher order command word, more than explain or describe, because you are expected to break down and then explain the relationship of variables. Let's look at an example of analyze. Here we go. Analyze. So analyze bottom up strategies. So maybe there could be 2-3 different strategies, relative value, growth, whatever, right? That might be. And then you need to, when you say analyze, you need to break down the components. So list what those strategies are, and then you need to also explain them or build relationship between the two. Analyze the effect of currency movement on portfolio risk and return. So what will, if currency appreciates, what happens, depreciates, what happens, how are they connected to risk and return, right? So analyze means break down and then somehow connect the components. Okay, so that's your analysis. All right, then there's also a command word that we use called evaluate. Now evaluate is a slightly more judgment based command word, which means it's going to be tough on the exam, but you have to judge based on certain facts and logic. Then we have next command word, which is justify. A lot of times justify will be attached to identify. Okay, so the combination would be identify and justify. And then this is an easy one. You just need to give reasons of why something is correct or incorrect. Then another important command word called discuss. Okay, this is a larger command word. Remember earlier we saw a larger command word as explain. Now one more larger command word is discuss. Look at the definition. Critically examine from multiple perspectives. It includes analyze, it includes calculate, it includes interpret and evaluate, which means it is going to be okay for you to provide some calculation if the word discussion comes, right? So I would rather recommend discussion is similar to the kind of answers we are used to writing in Indian universities, right? A comprehensive answer, that's what you'll have to do. Probability of this command word showing up is unlikely, but if it does, then know that gives you the most flexibility in terms of explaining the concept. Then some solution oriented command words. The first one is formulate. Typically formulate hypothesis, formulate IPS, so you have to devise something. Second command word is recommend. Again, recommend is straightforward, recommend good strategy, recommend this, recommend that. Demonstrate is a slightly larger command word. Again, it shows you how to do something in action. This also includes calculation. Okay, so remember, demonstrate includes calculation. It's okay to show that. Plus discuss also includes calculation, right? So discuss, demonstrate, and the previous one that we saw. And then on comparison front, you have two command words. There is something called as compare and contrast. If you see the command word compare, you have to do similarities and differences both. Okay, remember this. But if you use the command word contrast, then you only need to work on the differences between the two. All right, so this is your list of 17 command words. I know a little too much, but what I'll suggest, you take a printout of this page. It's a single page in a weird format. You figure out how to take a printout of it. And then when you're answering your constructed response, keep these command words in front of you initially for the first few mocks, right? And every time you see a command word, go to this list and see what exactly you're required to do. Try to frame your answers like that. You practice enough, I think with time you'd get okay with it. Okay. So with this, my agenda is over. Now I'll be happy to take whatever questions or doubts you might have on this. I'll recommend if you speak, so feel free to raise your hand and ask whatever you'd like to ask. Okay, I'm getting multiple hand raises. Let's start with Yash.
Good evening, sir. So I wanted to ask, like, sir, are the graders given, sir, they are given both the short and the long answers, or are they just given the guideline answers?
They just given the answer keys. There are no different versions of the answer keys. It's just a single version. But at times, one solution might have two, three different answer keys. Okay, two, three acceptable solution. Your answer needs to match with any one of those. Off lately, I think it's a guess. I don't know for sure, but off lately those very subjective questions are kind of getting out of level 3. It used to be a thing of the past when especially prior COVID. Now I don't think questions are that subjective. So there would in most of the cases there would be just one standard answer key, which is what you're expected to write. Your answer needs to match with that.
Sir, and do we get general questions like advantages, disadvantages, and such?
No, I don't think so. That's not even a command word.
So mostly they are all case related.
So if you know the concept, then that concept you need to apply to the case and then find the solution. You don't need to memorize.
Oh, sir, sorry for last question, sir. Sir, are we okay to just like if there's a like command word like explain, like justify or something? So is it okay if we just copy paste the entire that section from the paragraph, or do we have to explain it in our own words?
I mean, generally it's going to be okay to copy paste, but don't do like a literally word by word. Just add in a little bit context to what you're trying to do. But I think it's going to be okay for you to copy paste.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sufyan has posted something very useful on the chat box. I want to show it for all of you. He's saying, so if there is a question that says identify and justify, and if I identify manager A for justification, then I need to provide why manager B is not suitable. Correct. So ideally, what the best solution would be why manager A is suitable. Okay, if you can find some hints in the case study, and if you can do that, then you're done. But typically, justify will have at least two reasons. So maybe a good quality answer would be why manager A is suitable and why B and C are not suitable. I think these would be your 2 pointers if you are being asked to justify with two reasons. If you're not able to find them, if only this information is available, that's also okay. But generally, I don't think that will happen, Sufyan. All right, let's do it in a structured way. Yash is done. Let's go to Utsav. Don't worry, I'll answer all your questions. So I have time. I mean, as long as you guys have time.
So, sir, my question is regarding this calculation. So, for example, they have asked us to calculate implementation shortfall. The right answer was 215,000, and I got 214,000. So, how will that work, sir? So, let's suppose how close should I be to the real answer?
I don't know. But I think if I were grading you, I think I'll give you full points. I think decimals are here and there are okay. So your answer would be 214,600 something. I think that should be all right.
All right, so thank you, sir.
Suman.
Good afternoon to you. I had two queries. One under this calculation and numbers and decision wala category. When we are writing the formula in a simple way, like what you said, say ERP and whatever, do we have to give the abbreviation of that, like IPS, SAA, TA, when I'm mentioning? Should I do it in the beginning only, like in one of the CRs, I just put in all the abbreviations which I can take it through for the rest of the paper, or every
No.
question?
No. Don't do that.
How does it work?
That would have been great in a university paper where on the first page you write down all the abbreviations you're planning to use. But on the level 3, different people would be grading different answers. So
Correct.
no. So what I'll recommend is avoid as much as you can. Okay. For example, just type down strategic allocation or tactical allocation instead of saying CA or TA. If in the same answer, in the same box, you want to use it multiple times, then first time type down the whole thing, strategic asset allocation in bracket SAA. After that, if you want to use just SAA, that's going to be okay. All right. But again, CFA Institute says commonly accepted abbreviations are acceptable. So MIL as against million is okay. CAPM is okay. The ones which
ERP is okay. Yeah.
most of the cases they are going to be okay.
IPS must be okay, right?
IPS is okay. But again, see what's okay, what's not okay is commonly accepted. So avoid using, but if you have to, I think it's going to be okay.
Okay. The second question I had was, is there a spell check? I have a habit of writing the as TEH because of typing speed or whatever.
That's a good question. Let me come back on that. I'll talk to some students who've taken the exam recently. Let me ask if there's a spell check. I think it shows that line underline in the box itself that allows you to correct.
Okay. Okay.
Let's test that. I think we should be able to test that thing in the Prometric. Okay, this is your exam interface. They have given some sample CR questions here. Okay. Let me mess up economics. No. At least here it's not working. Maybe the software will work, but let me find that out for you, Suman. I'm not sure.
Sure. All right. Because that might help some of the words if you're not
It
good
will
at the
definitely
typing.
help people like me
Typing,
because I also end up
yeah.
making a lot of errors.
Typing speeds, like
Absolutely.
behavioral, not just that, their spellings are different from ours. A color is
Yes.
spelled in two ways, COLOR and COLOUR. So that also, behavioral is different. So,
That's true.
all right, sure. Thank you.
That's correct. CFI says grammar doesn't matter, but see the people who are grading you, right? They don't know your name. They don't know if you're a candidate from India, China, Africa, North America, wherever you are. But I believe if I see someone making too many grammatical errors, one or two is fine, but like very obvious grammatical errors, I would feel like this person doesn't deserve to be a charter holder. There will be some bias, right? So at least we will try to be as correct as we can. Okay. Nirmoy.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Hello, Nirmoy.
Sir, my first question was in terms of strategy. See, usually what I do is when I open a question, I know, based on the topic, how quickly I'll be able to solve. So usually wherever I feel this question would be time consuming, I just move to the next question. In fact, I try and finish those questions first, which I know I'll solve quickly. Then I have, say, more buffer for the topics where I'm little weak. I mean, will that strategy work?
I wouldn't do that, Nirmoy. I'll tell you why. Like at times, for example, let's say I have to teach some new topic on derivatives. I look at an index. I feel like, oh, I know this shit well. I can teach it. But when I open the actual content, at times I'm surprised by some of the newer elements. So just by looking at what case study topic is, I think it's very difficult to determine its difficulty level. Okay, you might be great at derivatives, but there might be a very, very tricky case study there. So you'll end up spending too much of time evaluating what to do first, what to do second. I would rather recommend just commit to it, right? Just do one CR, one MCQ. Make sure you hit that in 20 minutes. If you save time somewhere, good, you're ahead of the time because that case study will eventually come. But I wouldn't try and locate all the easy case studies first and try and solve them.
Okay, understood. And my next question was on the command word. When we say identify and determine, then no explanation is expected.
Correct.
Okay.
Just select.
But when they say demonstrate, then we have to show the calculations, right? When they say calculate, just the final number, and demonstration, maybe need to show the calculations.
Maybe like a formula explanation at times. Contextual, but yes, demonstrate includes calculate as a command word.
Sure, perfect. Thank you, sir.
Who's left? Shimanshu.
So my question was, if let's say I'm throwing in a very loose question over here. Let's say if you have two portfolios, portfolio A and portfolio B, and if you have to calculate the Sharpe ratio and you have to decide that okay, portfolio A has a better Sharpe ratio and you have to choose that one. So when we are answering, we should answer identification portfolio A and then when we need to show our calculation, do we need to show for both the portfolios or just for portfolio A?
I think you need to show both. So in this case, the question would be identify and justify.
Correct.
So identify would be portfolio A, justify would be because Sharpe ratio of A is 0.27, which is better than Sharpe ratio of B, which is 0.21.
Correct.
Right. So because how do you know A is better if you've not calculated Sharpe ratio of B? So you'll have to do both.
Do we need to show the entire calculation for portfolio A and portfolio B, or just the sentence would do?
No, you just need to justify. So just the sentence will be okay.
Okay. That's it from myself.
Sankalp.
So I have two questions, sir. One is related to like whenever we see the command word calculate, do we need to specify the units or the currency to it? So let's say if the answer is like some million or billion, so do we need to add dollar to it?
I think so. But you can just type in USD.
Okay.
I think it'll be a good idea to do that, to kind of attach units to the number you're calculating.
Okay. And sir, a very common mistake which I do, like the question is asked in million and I have written billion, or it's asked in billion, I have written million. So how okay is it, or like it's totally bad?
I have a tip for you. It's called RTFQ. Okay, if someone on the chat box can read the question. So, I mean, you know what? If I were grading and I would know that you answered 20.2 billion. It's a typo because it was a million. I would grade you 10 out of 10. But again, then it gets into subjective territory, right? And that's something that we would never know because what kind of instruction these graders are given. I was reading into a lot of documentation on how the actual grading works. So they apparently have the concept of some team leaders. Below that, they have a team, and then each team is responsible for grading only one question. They're given some training first, then they start grading. Then if the answers are too low or too high, then they're removed. The answers in the middle are graded again. So I'm sure these guys have a ton of instructions, and that part we'll never know. So genuine typos, few spelling errors here and there are okay. For example, billion, million would be okay, but just be careful as much as you can.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you.
All right. Now I'll take, anyone else wants to speak?
Yeah,
Yes,
I had one more. Yeah, I had one more question. This tends to happen with me. The first few questions, I tend to get them wrong. It throws me off guard, at least the first couple of them. So it used to happen with the weekly tests also. Any tips on that?
Yeah, basically, आपका scooter जल्दी start नहीं होता. It needs some kick, right? So गरम करके जाओ, है ना? मतलब do some, and this is actually a useful tip. I used to do that in most of the exams I took. I think probably like in the morning before you leave for the exams, do some some sort of a warm up for your brain. Identify 20, 30 or 10, 15 calculation questions and solve them before you go.
Okay, all right. Sure, thank you.
Okay, it looks like I have a few more participants who would like to speak. I'm unmuting them one by one. Just choose whoever wants to go first.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sir, I have a question regarding if a question asked, like in this weekly test, we have been given a question that a fund performs a qualitative management, and they use fundamental management instead. Identify and justify why this fund is not good. So can we copy the fund's main goal is qualitative management, but instead it's used just fundamental management. This raises concern and some other reason. Can we do that type of question answers?
Sure.
Because
See, your question is basically can I copy paste from the case study? So number one, does the technology allow that on the CFA exams? Answer is yes. Okay, it wasn't allowed earlier. I don't know, they made some changes to the software. You get this split screen type of view. On the left, typically you would see questions. On the right, you would see the boxes where you type. At least from the Indian Test Center, where screen size is bigger. For a smaller screen size, the question comes in a pop-up. In either case, you can copy paste from the question and answer. And in this case, you can definitely do that if it's an appropriate answer.
But this will inflate the answer a bit. Is that okay?
Inflate means increase the size.
Yeah, increase the size.
As long as you're answering what the question is asking, it's okay.
And the main points that you said, 3 to 4 bullet points. Is it 2 to 3 or 3 to 4? How much minimum at least?
Or I would recommend if it's a 2-part question, no?
Part.
If it's a 1 part, then I would write at least 3. See, it's very contextual. But if it's just a 1-part question, just one command word in the whole box, I would write at least 3 bullet points. Maybe I will write 4, depending on whether I have the points to write. If it's a 2-part, it's easy. If there are 2 command words, 2 bullet points each. Job done.
Okay. And
unless otherwise specified in the question.
Okay. And how does our weekly test compare to CFA exams?
I don't know. There's no way. How can I know, right? The only thing I can tell you is we had hired some candidates who had taken level 3 exams before to write some of these questions. So, but then again, so they have some experience of how the exam questions are. So I would hope that they're closer. But maybe you guys can come and tell me how they are. Based on what I've heard from candidates, generally FinTree mocks are extra difficult than what the true exams are.
Yeah, because after 2 weekly tests, I'm still not able to complete all the questions.
Understood. Okay.
And one last question, sir, regarding the weekly test. Are the grades reflected in the system? So I have given weekly test. It's showing ungraded. Will it be graded in the future, or will it only show ungraded?
No. On a weekly test, we don't grade all the candidates. What I do is on Sundays when I resume my sessions, August 15th, then I basically grade answers live in my Sunday sessions in the afternoon. When are you taking the test?
I've done 2 tests.
No. When is your final exam?
I am February.
Okay. So, by the way, this candidate is specifically focused for August candidates because I just want to make sure that I'm not, eating up their time. Sandeep, we can talk about how the test works
next time, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, I just had one question. It's little vague, but it's related to like if I think I'm short in time and I'm not able to complete the paper, and I have maybe a MCQ and as well as a CR case study pending. So like, what's your suggestion? What should I just quickly run through? No, but like if in case I can just maybe attempt the CRs and it would be for better scores.
You cannot attempt without reading. See, so you have to see. I have to maximize my points on the test. My constraint is the time. So when you do an MCQ, you know a definite answer. When you do a CR and you decide that I would write something haphazard, then your probability of scoring a perfect pointer on MCQ is better than CR. So if you're short of time, you have to choose between the two. Of course, finish CR first. After that, try and go and fill in whatever CR you can. But do the MCQs first.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. So my question was that if we come across a CR which needs some more thinking, and normally what I've seen is that when I attempt such kind of questions, it eats up my time and I'm like behind of the 20-minute block. So in such cases, then what I've thought is that maybe I should keep it for later and then attempt it. But otherwise, should I just type in something which could be closer and move ahead?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Suraj. At times, what happens is we get stuck on 1 or 2 questions, and there's that feeling that if I spend a little more time, I'll get it. And this is true for both MCQ and CR. But right now, I'm not getting it, right? And then these are questions which will tease your ego a little bit. It's like, I know how to do it, but I just need a little extra time. My recommendation is in situations like these, just flag and move on. And then towards the end, save some time and then come and tackle those questions again.
Yeah.
So Nirmoy proposed an approach, right? Nirmoy basically said that I go and find all the easy case studies first and do them. I would rather recommend you guys invert it. Okay, so what is an inversion? You start solving your paper sequentially, but with a caveat that you will do alternate, 1 MCQ, 1 CR, and we will follow that 20-minute rule. Okay. Now, in that setup, let's assume you come across case study number 4 that happens to be extremely complicated. Okay, let's say the case study requires you to calculate implementation shortfall, the kinds which were running on your WhatsApp group, right? Now, you just read, and you do this, by the way, all of you. Read the question first before you start reading the case study. I think we established this principle at level 2 itself, right? So read the question, and if you feel this will take me a lot of time, that case study you can flag and you can move forward, right? So instead of selecting the easier ones, maybe a negative inversion principle would be that defer the tricky ones towards the end because they might consume too much of time, and then keep on practicing everything else around it.
Sir, sir, I have a
Yes.
question. For this recommend as a keyword, I mean, like, should we explain?
No, just recommend.
Yeah, sir.
So there's no need to explain. Recommend, yeah, Norway pension plan or health strategy or whatever, endowment plan, whatever, right? So just recommend. That's it. No explanation required.
Yeah, sir. And one more thing is, one more question I have is for the FinTree mocks. I'd given all the mocks of the FinTree, those 7 mocks. There were 38 to 39 questions each session. So I completed it at least with 15 to 20 minutes before this scheduled time. But I see in the CFA Institute mocks, which I have not given yet, there were 43 to 44 questions in each session. So, like, based on the standards of this FinTree, so would I be comfortable on the day of exam at least finishing it at least 10 minutes before or something of that sort?
Yeah. So that, I think the variation is coming because the constructed response at times can have 3 questions or they can have 4 questions. Okay. Now, based on what we thought was correct at the time of developing the mock, we chose a 3-question path where every constructed response case study had 3 boxes. There is a possibility that you might have 4, but if you get 4, then the size of the amount of time required to answer those 4 is lower. I mean, each question is relatively smaller in size. So I think you should still be able to do it okay. See, what I'm trying to say is, if there are only 3 questions on a CR, typically these will come with 2 attachment command words.
Yeah.
Identify, justify, calculate, interpret, these type of command words. But if you get 4 questions in a CR, my guess is that it will come only with 1 command word. So technically, the number of questions do not matter, because on the FinTree test, if you noticed, every CR question that we've done, we've taken 2 command words.
Yes.
Right? There are hardly any questions on the FinTree test which has a single command word. So net, it will still turn out to be the same.
So one more is ethics. Will we get questions in CR format? Because all the mocks which I've solved, there were MCQs, but one mock we had constructive response type of ethics questions to give us a practice. But like, what is the probability? Because if you see in the curriculum also, we have only MCQs. Sort of.
Ethics officially is not to be tested in CR. That's a standard policy. However, if you read the curriculum carefully, they end up discussing ethics at a lot of different places as well. Right? Duties towards client, duties towards research, whatnot, right? There are these ethics pieces in between. So on those pieces, very rare chance that CR will show up. I would not worry about it too much. I think ethics will mostly be MCQs. GIPS, on the other hand, is not a part of ethics anymore. It used to be for 1 year, but GIPS is a separate section. So on GIPS, you can expect a constructed response to show up. All right, who wants to go next?
Yes, sir. So I have given my first mock. So should I do the crash course in the between, or should I give the second mock first?
Do the crash course now.
Okay.
First mock, crash course, second mock, third mock, fourth mock. But I'm doing a review session on mock 1 and mock 2 day after tomorrow. You've received the schedule, right?
Yeah.
I'll be evaluating answers for each one of you, only for the August candidates. Okay, I'll make sure that I'm evaluating at least 1 answer for every candidate.
It's on 5th, right?
It's on 5th. Okay. Yeah, whatever, as per the schedule, right? If it's on 5th, then 5th. So make sure that you write the 2 mocks before that, so you get a opportunity to get them graded by me. Apart from that, I think logically the correct way to approach this is mock 1, crash course, mock 2, Work on the mistakes, take 1 day gap, mock 3, take 1 day gap, mock 4, and so on.
Okay, sir. So should I give all the 7 mocks?
Yes.
All right.
7 plus 2. 7 FinTree mocks and 2 CFA mocks. And if you can get more, then more.
Sir, actually, I don't know where the CFO mocks are. So it's not.
Google it.
Okay, all right.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Good.
So
How are
just
you
a
doing,
small,
Mohammed?
good, sir. It's just a question on my preparation because I ran out of a little bit of time and I'm constrained because I'm not getting any leave from office. So the thing is like currently my target is I'm finishing all the questions from the curriculum. For all the chapters, I'm finishing the questions from the curriculum from the start. And I think I'll run out of time because I might be able to do another 2 or 3 mock exam maximum. So because I'm not getting any leaves from office. So I was just thinking if I do the 2 CFA mocks and 2 FinTree mocks, you think that will be okay? I know it's a you'll recommend
So
to do
let's
everything.
optimize with the constraints you have. First, tell me, have you completed the whole of syllabus once?
So the problem is like I have read it. I have gone through the entire syllabus, seen the videos also. The problem is when I go through the first time and finish it, like there are certain parts I don't remember the formulas
That's
and
okay.
stuff like that.
No, that wasn't my question. It's okay if you've forgotten. My question is, have you completed everything once?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, have you? So I'm guessing now you have difficulty in recall. You feel you've forgotten pieces. Have you done the crash course?
Crash course, not like when I'm doing a particular chapter, sir, I refer the crash course first and then do the questions on that.
So
The questions, I mean.
now my suggestion would be you start doing is you do the crash course once in the next 3-4 days. Make sure that you've gone through the whole syllabus one more time, so you start feeling a little more confident, and then directly jump on the mocks. Okay, so the way you can schedule your time is, let's assume we have about 20 days left. You can definitely take a 5-hour mock after your office, right, in the night.
Yes, sir.
So you start taking mocks. You try to take all the mocks, all 7 FinTree mocks and 2 CFA mocks, because see, even if you do a lot of curriculum EOCs, you will still not have enough practice on CR. And if you don't have that practice, your still probability of passing is very low. Right? So instead, a smarter allocation of time would be step number 1, do the crash course. Step number 2, start writing mocks, and then take 1 day off between the 2 mocks. And on those day off, what you do is you evaluate which subjects you scored the lowest, take 1 or 2 subjects, and for those subjects you go and solve learning ecosystem questions, because they will include your EOCs and blue boxes as well. And then try to do as many as you can. Don't target completion. Okay, so let's assume that on mock 1 you scored very poorly on derivatives. So then between mock 1 and mock 2, you practice derivative questions and then you take mock 2. But make sure you write all the 9 mocks, even if you don't have leaves.
Right, understood, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks, sir.
I just had one more question, if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, in some of the FinTree CR questions, both in mocks and weekly test, some of the answers are quite short. In fact, they are shorter than the questions as well. So I was just wondering, in the exam, I mean, are we allowed to be so crisp, or they would at least expect us to write a little more?
No, the more direct you are, the better. So most of the guideline answers on the FinTree mocks are representative of what we expect you to write. That's why, if you notice, we write 2 types of answers. One is your guideline answer, and then one we write explanation below that, which is comprehensive. So try to stick to guideline answers as much as you can, as long as you're answering what the question is saying.
Okay. And will, sir, all CR questions have similar weightage, or would depend on the complexity?
There's no official policy on that, but my guess is I think every question has the same weighting. See, now you need to appreciate that there is not one exam paper, right? There are multiple versions of exam paper, even for August exams, because the exams are conducted across a week in 2 shifts, right? AM, PM shifts. So obviously there's a risk that even though we have ethics and all of it, but there's a risk that someone who takes the exam on 19th will go and put it somewhere on the internet, and then people will know. The ones who are taking exams on 20th will know what was showing up. So therefore, clearly they will have 5-6 different versions of your papers. So which means the exam paper that you would be writing, Sandeep, would be different than maybe Nirmoy would be writing. But what they would do is the recipe for every paper should be same. That means internally they will have some doc on classifying the level of difficulty, right? Let's say easy, moderate, difficult. So maybe if one paper has a 50%, 25%, 25% ratio, then the other paper will also have similar ratio. I hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. The topic will vary, the question will vary, but the level of difficulty ratio would be same. So hopefully that gives you a little perspective.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Okay. What else?
So can you suggest a little on how to prepare for ethics? Like I had planned it for the last month, but I'll just start it now, and I'm now in the panic mode. Should I go read from the curriculum fully, or should I just do the Switcher and the EOC questions and the curriculum questions?
No, don't do Schwezzers. I don't like Schwezzers. It's I think, and that's my view, I think it gives you a false sense of confidence. Let me show you what to do. So this is your ethics book. This first chapter, have a quick read through if you want. They have this concept of situational influence. Just make sure you know that. Otherwise, there's nothing really technical here. This is where your ethics starts. Now, the way to tackle ethics is, for example, if this is knowledge of law, and then they have ton of explanation around it. Now, after every standard, they will have a variety of different examples. Okay, I don't see that example in knowledge of law. So let me move forward to maybe, okay, it's still there. Yeah, here you go. So this is your examples. Example 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 examples. I think this is a better way to do ethics because you're at level 3, you already know what knowledge of law is, right? So just read through these examples carefully. And then towards the end, they have some practice questions for you. So let me fetch them from index directly. These are also available in your learning ecosystem. So then make sure you do these practice questions carefully. I think you should be all right. I don't think if I had to, for example, if I were a level 3 candidate and if I had to do ethics again, probably it's a 10 to 12 hour work, right? So I'll sit in one night and by morning I should be done with ethics. And then when you practice mocks, automatically you end up practicing enough ethics there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Are we done? Yeah, you can use juice notes, of course. Juice notes will help you revise quickly. What is the plan of action for last 2 weeks? Write mocks, take days off between the 2 mocks, and in that day off, work on your weak areas wherever you're scoring less, and that's it. I'll tell you what, practice as many mocks as you can. And I'm not saying as many questions as you can, which is what I said at level 2 and level 1, right? Level 3, I'm saying practice as many mocks because you need good practice on constructed response, right? So it doesn't matter if someone is grading or not grading, you have access to my videos, right? We've done enough grading together. So you have an idea of what to write. All that you need to do is just keep on practicing. The more you practice, the better chances you have. And revise every day. You have access to juice notes, your own notes. So spend few minutes, few hours every day in revision so that you don't lose out on easy points. That's it. Looks like we're done. Anything else? Have any questions I can answer for you? How do you know you're not writing too less? It's okay to write too less. As long as you're answering every command word, you cannot be writing too less. I don't think any candidate would have failed level 3 because they did not write enough, assuming you're answering all the command words. So don't worry about it, Yash. And this technique that I've discussed with you, right? Identification, justification, it's been tried and tested for last 10, 11 years. I started teaching level 3 full-time course somewhere around 2017. Okay, till then I was not teaching it. I was just teaching level 1, level 2. But prior to that, I used to conduct workshops for FinTree students just a week before the exam, and we used to only do constructed response practice. And since then, I've been helping candidates use this particular technique, right? Breaking it down into command words. And this has been extremely effective. Okay, so every year I hear candidates giving me the feedback. So this will work for you. Just trust the process and make sure that you write answering each of the command word. So answer command words, answer what the question is asking. Do not write gibberish. Do not write adjacent areas. As long as you take care of it, you should be okay. All right. And all of you deserve to pass. The fact that you're attending this session with me, I don't know what time is it for you, at 12:15 a.m. tells me the level of commitment you folks have towards your charter. You're very, very close. This is going to work out. Nirmoy. Again, what I say this all the time, I've said this before, right? You want to work on what is in your control. Okay. And what is in your control is next 20-25 days where you put in the best possible efforts. So make a 20-day plan, day 1, day 2, day 3, adjust the plan if required. And every day tell yourself that I don't care what happens on the exams, on the results. I don't care about that part. I'm just going to make sure that I really put in my heart and soul into this next 20 days, right? So do the hard work one day at a time and just keep on doing it. And then before you know, your exams will be done. And of course, when the results come, give me a call. I'm very, very happy to listen that I pass from all of you. That will happen. And then we'll celebrate your charter together. Okay, maybe all of you can come down to Pune. We can go for dinner or something. All right, so one final time for today, give me a large, loud I pass. And when you do it, believe that this has happened and believe that you're texting me the same thing on the day of results. Good. Very happy. We're done with this session now. Wish you guys all the best. Enjoy next 20 days. Your last 20 days of CFA studies. You're going to miss it after that. And trust me, you will. Right? The day level 3 results are out, you will feel like, oh, I'm missing those CFA studies. If not level 3, CFA studies in general. So have fun with it. All right. All the best, guys.